Hello, Wang Automotive here, and today we're going to be talking about some more General Motors vehicles, and today, well, it'll be 10 General Motors vehicles you've probably forgot about. And I know there's probably a lot more out there, but I will do a video on that probably never. Let's get right into it. Number 10. This will be the Cadillac ELR. We're starting the list off pretty strong here with a little known EV made by Cadillac. Well, it's not an EV, it's more of a hybrid little thing. It's, well, rather horrible. Produced from 2013 to 2016 for the 2014 and 2016 model years. Yes, there was no 2015 ELR. I don't know why. But these are a pretty rare find, with just less than 3,000 of them being produced. The underpinnings of the ELR are all completely Chevrolet Volt, meaning you get a hybrid with a front-wheel drive transverse mounted 1.4-litre EcoFlex inline 4, coupled to a CVT and a battery. It's got a range of about 39 miles on the battery alone, and a total range of 340 miles. It's a funky two-door compact coupe that not many know about, and it's not that fast either. Coming with 217 horsepower, but that was changed to 230 in the 2016 model. It clocked a 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds, and it's, well, not very quick, and it doesn't really handle that well. These retailed for $65,000. However, today you can find a good running model for about as low as $15,000. Number 9. The Pontiac 6000. From 1982 to 1991, you can pick up the last Pontiac to have a number as the model designation. Offered in coupe, sedan, and wagon body styles, the decade-long run totaled just over 100,000 Pontiac 6000s made and sold. These had a variety of engines to choose from the dinky 2.5-litre Iron Duke inline 4 to suspiciously weird and horrible diesel V6. The Pontiac 6000 sits on GM's A-body platform, which is shared with more popular but equally forgettable cars like the Chevrolet Celebrity. Fun fact, I could have owned a Celebrity, and I wanted it badly for some reason. However, that car was unfortunately scrapped. Well done. The other A-body cars were the ever-so-famous Buick Century and the Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. Surprisingly, the 6000 had a sporty version called the Sport Touring Edition. The STE was named by Road & Track as the top 12 enthusiast cars of 1984. The STE would offer a high-output 2.8-litre V6 with a thunderous 135 horsepower. The nameplate was continued use after the 6000 was discontinued, and it was used up until about 1993 on the Pontiac Grand Prix. Number 8. From 1997 to 1999, you can pick up one of the most controversial and influential EVs of the 20th century. The EV1 was out to be the next best thing in automobiles, with 70 miles of range and a lowest drag coefficient of just about any production car. With just over 1,000 units made, they're all leased out to customers, not bought. However, in 2002, GM ordered the destruction of all EV1 cars. Many speculate GM sabotaged the product and attempted to delay the EV revolution further to sell more ICE vehicles and spare parts. They crushed the cars anyway. However, after a lot of protesting, GM decided to hand over about 15 of the cars to put in museums and college students so they can rip them apart. All but one of these cars are functional, as GM made sure to take out anything that could make the cars functional again. Number 7. You may know what the Cadillac Escalade EXT was, a weird, funky pickup based off the Cadillac Escalade. But that's not Cadillac's first pickup truck. And yes, the one I'm talking about was sold at dealers, despite not being made by Cadillac themselves. These are extremely rare entries, with only 204 of them being made, and that's on the high side of the estimate. They were produced in 1975 and 1976, and they're based off a land yacht of a car, the Cadillac Eldorado. These were powered by 8.2-litre boat anchor. The Mirage pickup may very well be the heaviest ute ever to be made, or at least it's the longest. One of these recently sold at auction for $41,000, a small price to pay for a large piece of heaven on clouds, chrome trim, and a set of Leonard Skinner tapes. Number 6. The Hummer H3T. Most would know the H2's pickup version, with its comically small bed box and horrible looks to match. However, for 2 years you can get an actually functional crew cab pickup with an actual 5-foot bed and a Hummer badge. The H3 was based off the Chevrolet Colorado, which meant it had options like an inline 5 or the 5.3-liter LH8 V8. The H3T was only produced for 2009 and 2010, until Hummer was axed by General Motors. Technically, the H3T is a mid-sized pickup, although it certainly doesn't look that way. Overall, 2,700 of these were sold to men that needed an ego boost. Fun fact, I saw a white one while heading from Walmart the other day, and I was in near awe of how blocky and American it was. You know, I badly want one of these. Shame, they're only $25,000 now. Number 5, the Chevrolet Laguna. Now this technically is a gussied up Chevelle, but that's not stopping me from putting it on this list. The Laguna was sold from 1973 to 1976, and offered a stylish performance-ish luxury option for a buyer that thought the Chevelle was too boring and homely. These are mostly coupes, but you can find them in sedan and wagon form. Nearly 100,000 of these Lagunas were sold, making them somewhat rare. But to put rare in quotation marks, simply because 100,000 isn't a small number. Although compared to total Chevelle sales of the same years being 1.7 million cars, 100,000 seems like a lot smaller margin. The Laguna also was raced at NASCAR quite a bit, being Cale Yarborough's vehicle of choice for the 1977 season. With it, the number 11 Laguna gained 34 total wins. The Laguna itself was a common body style seen during the 73 to 76 NASCAR races, and if you wanted some power, you were offered the Laguna Type S3 after 1974. This model replaces the SS in the Chevelle lineup, and it featured only as a coupe. If you find yourself behind the wheel of one of these, you'll be greeted with 235 horsepower from a 454 cubic inch V8. Sadly, only 15,000 of these Type S3 cars were made. Number 4, the Saturn Sky. This is a car I'd love to own, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Offered to buyers from 2007 to 2010, the Saturn Sky is a close relative of the Pontiac Solstice, as well as being rebadged as the Opel GT and Daewoo G2X overseas. There were 2 engine options, both of them being inline 4s. The 2.8-litre naturally aspirated inline 4 was a base model engine and could produce 177 horsepower. The turbocharged 2-litre Ecotec, available on the sporty Redline edition, was capable of making 260 horsepower. The Sky was available as a manual and had an optional automatic transmission, and it was capable of going 60 miles an hour in as little as 6.2 seconds. If you opted for the Redline version, which had the turbocharged engine, had enough power to make the same City 60 dash in as little as 5.3 seconds. A total of 34,000 Saturn Skies were produced, with even fewer Redlines being made. Finding one isn't hard, but they come at a price of about $15,000. Number 3, the Geo Storm hatchback. It's a weird little car, and this is a personal favorite of mine. A grand garbage heap, if you will. Made from 1991 to 1993, these rebadged Isuzus hit US shores and quickly became forgotten, simply because they were terrible and most of them rusted away. Under the hood was your choice of an underpowered inline 4, ranging from a 1.6-litre 96 horsepower engine, or you could opt for the GSI, which gave you a larger 1.8-litre with 140 horsepower. Base model cars could get you to 60 in a mind-numbing 10 seconds, while the extra power from the GSI cars cut the time down to 7.7 seconds. Even though it's a front-wheel drive car, the handling was actually very good. Notably, it was better or the same as a Mazda RX-7. So that's something going for it. The Storm sold better than its superior sibling, the Isuzu Impulse. There were 40,000 Geo Storms and only 13,000 Isuzu Impulses, despite the Isuzu Impulse being a much better car. Number 2, Chevrolet Greenbrier. Technically, the Greenbrier is on 2 vehicles, the latter of which is a station wagon Chevelle made from 1969 to 1972, available with a 454 V8. The one I'm talking about is a 61 to 65 Chevy Corvair-based Greenbrier sports wagon. It's not very sporty, and it's a horrible wagon. These came in either vans or the elusive ramp-side pickup truck, offered with an air-cooled rear-mounted flat 6, producing a whopping 80 horsepower. If you got one of these cars after 1964, you'd be greeted with 96 horsepower. You're almost in the 100. You're almost in 100. It's still horrible. The trucks are the rarest, with production totaling the measly 3,100 units. The normal Greenbrier wagon sold over 70,000 units, but production quickly fell off after the introduction of Ford and Chrysler's more iconic water-cooled front-engine Econoline and Dodge A100 vans. These vans are hard to find today, not that you'd want to be looking for one. And finally, number 1, the GMC Sprint. Do you consider the El Camino a car? Well, boy do I have news for you. GMC made a car, and I'll do a video on that later because it's real. But today I'm talking about something that was popular, but just fell off
Caballero
history.
suspension is not based on torsion bars, not
GMC
leaf springs,
Sprint, and later the
steel
1978
coils
to
at all
1987
four
GMC
wheels,
Caballero.
plus those air shocks.
It's an El Camino, a coupe utility.
And another glorious feature is Caballero's longer wheelbase.
And I love them both.
And Caballero's wheelbase is 16.9 inches longer than Datsun Little Hustlers.
Like a 454.
Caballero is longer overall and lower.
You mostly
It's
forgot
built
about
on a
them.
car chassis, so it
Some
acts more like a car.
85,000 Sprints and Caballeros were sold,
But its
which is
pickup box is
minuscule
longer
compared to the
and
massive
double-walled to help
500,000
protect the
units
outside
of El
appearance from
Camino.
shifting cargo
I
dents
saw
on the
a
inside,
72 Sprint for
and
sale a
wider
year
than the
ago,
Datsun
and
Little
after looking
Hustler
online,
or
these
Toyota
forgotten
standard bed
units
pickups.
go for around $20,000. A pretty penny for a coupe utility, or an El Camino with fancier seats. So that concludes the video, and hopefully if you'd like to watch more videos like this, or well, other BeamNG and automation content that I make, please remember to subscribe, and it'd be very nice if you did. So of course, thank you for watching. This has been Wang Automotive, and I'll see you next time.